Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Let me start off by saying that I am sorry for being a little bit late, but you guys, I have been up for the past hour getting everything together. And let me tell you something. When I say I'm very serious about the fact that I believe that something does not want this moment to occur, something does not want this moment to occur, which means this moment must be grand. Okay? I'm so serious. So, first it was the computer didn't want to cooperate. I had to restart it. Then it was the connections. Good morning, Tiffany. Thank you for joining me. Then it was that my connectors to the computer that accessed my camera and my mic didn't want to cooperate. I spent about 15 minutes disconnecting and reconnecting that. A series, you guys. Then I was getting ready to set up my TikTok account so we can stream this to TikTok. And the TikTok on my tablet was upside down. And no matter which way I turned my tablet, it kept showing up upside down. I've never had that problem before and I didn't know how to solve it. So I finally, after about 7 minutes, it was almost time to start, I gave up. So I said, let me set up TikTok on my cell phone. So I set up TikTok on my cell phone, and then, no lie, you guys, TikTok on my cell phone did not want to flip the camera around so that it was front facing me. Then I said, well, let me stream Instagram through my tablet. And when I click on Instagram through my tablet, it says that I have been logged out of Instagram on my tablet and I must log myself back in. I have never been logged out of Instagram on my tablet. I've never been told I had to be logged back in. Same thing, you guys. All I'm saying is that what we're about to do this morning is very important and very revolutionary. I don't know if it's going to affect somebody in a greater way than I anticipate. I have no idea. But I will tell you that I have had every problem under the sun this morning getting this thing set up, you guys. And I've been very excited about it. I had my notes written down yesterday for so now all of a sudden Instagram is working. You guys, Instagram has been giving me the blues, but it will not let me log into an existing account. So let's see what we can do. We're going to try to get Instagram set up so we can stream there as well. So this morning is very important. I want to just take a moment to thank everyone who is here. You guys, even with there's a poem I'm going to share with you all this morning. And I woke up and I had a million issues going on with the document that's been sitting open since last night. So I want you all to know that today, as we get ready to celebrate Juneteenth, and we're talking about cultural work, and we're talking about the celebration of our people and their experiences, that there are definitely forces out there that do not want us to come together and really talk about the fullness of Juneteenth in its full capacity. It does not want to see us as Black folks continue to live in our full truth. Good morning, Fanyana. It does not want us to continue to tell the stories of our ancestors and do so without restriction. But this is going down today, regardless of any interference that may try to occur. We're going to have these moments of reflection. So I want to start first by just talking about why Juneteenth is important. And we're going to be talking about why Juneteenth is important outside of the commercialization of it and outside of just the moments that occurred on July 19th, 1865. I shared with you all before that my grandmother is actually from Texas. So I have been familiar with and celebrating Juneteenth ever since I was a little girl. My grandmother always taught me when I would go and visit her over in Jasper. And then eventually, when she moved to Louisiana, she would always teach me. She said, if nobody else celebrates Juneteenth, we will celebrate Juneteenth every year because that is the day when we received the message in Texas that our people were freed from slavery. And my grandmother would cook up these delicious meals and she would invite family members over and she would have friends over and she would just enjoy the time and just always remind me that it was very important to celebrate Juneteenth. And so I want to tell you all, firstly, that a couple of days ago I did a video on the maintaining the authenticity of Juneteenth while being culturally diverse and inclusive. And if you missed that discussion, I implore you to go back on the Black Intellectualism Movement, my channel on YouTube, and tune in to that discussion. And so during that discussion, I talked about how it is important that we do not get caught up in the commercialization of Juneteenth. And that while it is a wonderful thing that Juneteenth has become a federal holiday, let us remember that the history behind Juneteenth is about the painful experience of Black people in this country. And not only can we not get caught up in those things, we cannot allow this country to move away from the message that is Juneteenth. We cannot allow this country to move away from the message that is Juneteenth. Already, we've started to see an excess of mainstream markets who want to produce T-shirts, who all of a sudden want to put symbols on candles, who all of a sudden want to show information in different places. We've seen a lot of things that have now suddenly come about where people want to act as if there is an interest in Juneteenth without acknowledging the story that exists behind Juneteenth, what our ancestors have been through, and what this holiday actually honestly commemorates. And so I want to remind you all, firstly, this morning, not to buy in to the commercialization of Juneteenth, but for us to remain authentic and true in our celebration of what our people went through. And it's important that we remain authentic to that because the experiences of Black people in this country were too gruesome for us to water the experience down. Approximately 9 million slaves were brought from Africa and distributed all across this country. Millions died. And literally, from the time enslaved people touched the grounds of the United States, our ancestors began working. Our ancestors began literally clearing the land in the United States. And I think that that's something very important that we don't often talk about is how when people touch the coast of America, we did have the Native Americans here who were doing their own work, but much of this country was still undeveloped. And enslaved Black folks were literally brought here to clear the land, to cut down trees, to cut down bushes and woods. So if you look outside and you live in the city, and all around you, you see cement, you see buildings, you see parks, you see all of these different buildings. I want you in your mind to journey back in history and think about what things must have looked like before there was ever even a building there, before there was ever a park that has been cleared with benches and toys for kids. Think about what that land had to look like, completely undeveloped. Trees, grass, wild animals, snakes. I want you to think about what this country must look like in its untouched form. And then I want you to imagine our ancestors who couldn't speak the language, who didn't know why they were here, who were tired, who were hungry, who were afraid. I want you to imagine them being thrown out into this land and being told that they have to clear this land, cut down these trees, kill these animals, clear out this land for other people to build their homes, for other people to take over land that wasn't theirs, for other people to wage a war against Native Americans. Either you do the work or you die. That is why you're here. That is what was told to our people. See, a lot of times it begins at just saying serving in the house or working in the fields, but I want people to understand that the work of our enslaved ancestors started the moment they got off of the ships and they touched down in this country to this land that was unfamiliar and was not even developed. And so I want you to journey mentally through history. Journey mentally through history if you can. And I don't want you to think about this journey from a painful perspective. And I know for a lot of people, they say, Jamie, it's hard for me. It's hard for me not to think about what my people went through from a painful perspective. And I absolutely agree with you. But for this moment, I want us to just look in terms of what the journey was and not the engagement of the pain as well at this moment. Because we explore pain and we talk about the pain, but I really want you to see the journey so we can understand just how long this suffering was, just how physically toiling this suffering was, just how demanding this suffering was. I want you to see that. So from cutting down and clearing the land, to being made to build houses, to being made to plant cotton, to being forced to grow rice. All the while, your children, you can barely feed your kids. You don't know where your husband is. You don't know where your other children are. You don't know if you're going to be sold. Black women assaulted, harassed, treated as just really less than humane. You know, I was reading a passage that talked about what 3/5 of a person meant. That meant you basically had to combine two Black people together in order to get what was a whole person. And let me share something with you all today. The burden, the ghost of that, is still haunting so many of our people. The feelings of not being a whole person, the feelings of still being chained to some things. Subconsciously and consciously, many of us are still experiencing that. And so, what I would like for you to think about today is, how do I free myself emotionally, physically? How do I free myself of the chains that have bound my people for so long? You know, when I decided to have this conversation, it was at the encouragement of so many of you all to share what I do each year for Black History Month, which is take time to reflect. I do some moments of reflection. And during those moments of reflection, I think about history and I think about culture and I think about my people and I think about what my desires are for the future. I think about where they were in the past and I think about what my responsibility is going forward. And most importantly, I think about what things that my ancestors go through for me so that I can be here today. Oh, the journey was so hard. The journey was so gruesome. Imagine working hot summers in the South. Imagine working cold winters anywhere in this country. Because we do know that enslaved people were not just in the South. It may have been most heavily populated in the South, but there were people enslaved all over this country. So cold winters. Imagine. Oh, how thankful I am that today I don't have to live through those same experiences anymore. And so, what we are doing for Juneteenth is remembering how important it is to preserve the authenticity of a holiday that acknowledges that slavery existed, that on paper it was identified as coming to an end, but most importantly, the journey and experiences of our people. So now let's transition that. And so let's move into the zone of thankfulness, right? That in 2022, we are the highest educated sector of women, Black women in this country. That we are breaking generational curses emotionally by discovering more about ourselves and our history and working to not repeat those same actions that were motivated by trauma. We are getting in therapy, getting spiritually aligned, and allowing ourselves the time we need to recover. We are creating financial wealth by learning how to invest our money, how to grow our money, how to continue to expand as entrepreneurs. We are looking at the techniques of our ancestors and using those as ideas to push us forward in inspiration and motivation and technique. We are teaching our children about their identity. We are reclaiming the land by investing in land that was taken away from our ancestors during sharecropping. We are doing those things. Now, has this been an easy journey? No, it has not. Has this been a journey without pain? No, it is not. Do we still face challenges every day? By all means, we do. But we have the determination and the tenacity to get up each day to fight and to use our voices to say that we refuse to settle, to say that we refuse to be abused, to say that we refuse to turn back the hands of time. We are moving forward. We are celebrating the advancements of our culture while honoring our ancestors. Before I conclude with my reflective prayer, I want to share a poem with you all that I've been working on for Juneteenth. This poem is actually written in two different languages. I have it written in enslaved vernacular, and I have it written in traditional English. Today, I am going to share the traditional English as I am still working to make my enslaved vernacular as good as possible. And to be honest with you, I don't feel prepared to perform that piece in that vernacular yet. It takes work, but I will read to you the modern version of that poem. After I have read that poem, then I will conclude with a cultural prayer to honor our ancestors and support our visions going forward. And so here are the words to that poem. The name of that poem is The Promise of Freedom. Lord have mercy. Freedom has come. They say master in the big house said chains are no more. 3/5 are no more. Breeding us like cows and the pigs is no more. No more harvesting and picking and baling that cotton through the hot weather, through the cold weather, the snow and the rain. No more running and begging. They say we are free for sure. I've taken 100 lashes for failing at a day's work, back bleeding, feet blistered, old body bloody with sores. They say we finally got us some freedom. So they can't do that to us no more. Never thought I'd see the day with no master over us. Maybe life will now be different for the blacks like you and us. But, sir, where do I begin? I never knew the end was in sight. Got no land, no food, no nothing, not even a place to lay at night. I've got no school, and my children just learned to read the books. With no hogs and no land for farming, whatever will we cook? They took us from our home, made us sail so far away, and worked us to the bone. Many days us have passed away. They made us free, but oh, what is the cost? Do we have to pay? Good old master, he's so kind. He said I can work for just a little bit of pay. Though I may be free, I ask myself, do I go or do I stay? Land of the free and home of the brave. They claim these words in America and listen use a slave. That piece in particular is written about exactly what our people felt upon hearing that they had been finally freed. The question was for them, what does freedom mean when you have no resources? What does freedom mean when you have no place to go? What does freedom mean when nobody cares about you? What does freedom mean when no one is concerned about you? What does freedom mean when you've already lost so much? And that is what we have been reclaiming throughout history. Our ancestors' story, our ancestors' peace, our ancestors' rights, our ancestors' legacy. That is what we are reclaiming. I implore you, please remain. Thank you, everyone, for your positivity and your love. Please remain authentic and true to the meaning of Juneteenth. Do not let people water down the title. Do not let people water down the meaning. This is an important day to our ancestors, and we must celebrate it in the fullness. At this time, I will share prayer, and then we will close this segment. Dear God, we come first thanking you for our ancestors, for the tedious journey that they experienced, God. We thank you for the submissive spirits that they had despite the abuse, the misuse, and the ill treatment they received. Their submissive spirit was about survival for us, Lord. And while we may not understand that, we know that because of them and their spirit, today we are here. Generations of us later, we are still here. We thank you for their ingenuity. We thank you for the buildings they built for this country. We thank you for the inventions they made for this country to make life easier for every person, regardless of race, creed, color, or religion. Their inventions and their work made life easier for everyone in this country and people across the world. That is what Black enslaved people did. And we thank you. We thank you that they worked long hours in the days, that they had short nights for us. And though it is so hard to think of the pain they went through, we still thank you. Because without them, there is no us. There is no us. We thank you for their freedom. And we thank you that in their freedom, they still did not stop fighting. They fought through Reconstruction. They fought through Black codes. They fought through Jim Crow. And today we continue to fight through social justice, through brutality, through injustice. We continue to fight. And we know that the power of the energies in us come from the things our ancestors have passed to us. And we thank you that they were such amazing people who made us who we are. And today, I ask God that you touch the visions of everyone who is tuned in to these videos. That you begin to bless their futures, their ideas, their goals, their ambitions, that you release them from any pain that they are carrying, Father God, so they can live in the fullness of joy and happiness and peace, that they may continue to be the light that our people have been to this world. We ask that you open up opportunities for them. Give us the desires of our hearts. Touch our pathways that we may continue to impact the lives of others, to raise our children in healthy ways, to show them love, and to teach them the power of their identity. We ask that you be with us on this journey. Protect our babies when they are not with us. Protect our children when they are in dangerous encounters. We pray for our brothers and sisters who have been victimized at the hands of unfair society, who have been victimized by racism. We ask that you touch the hearts of mothers and cousins and aunts and uncles who are burdened by the losses of their family members due to racial trauma in this country. And going forward, we continue to embrace the gift we have of resilience, not as an obligation, God, but just as of who we are, getting up each day and still trying and still moving forward. I claim multiplicity financially, emotionally, in the career path, for our children, for our friends, for our family. I claim peace like never before in this nation as people continue to understand and explore the value of Black contributions to this country. And I claim that the true story of our ancestors and their experiences are told and preserved and uplifted and celebrated. And we thank you. We thank you that you have given us life and joy and the ability to be here today. Thank you for allowing us to be the future that our ancestors dreamed of. And may we continue to live out a life that is reflective of all the positive and amazing things about them. We thank you, Lord. Amen. I want to thank you all so much for joining today. This is my first time sharing this very intimate moment with you all. This is usually a very personal experience for me. But next year, I will bring it back to us again for Black History Month and Juneteenth. And I will be welcoming other people to participate. I hope that this moment has been as meaningful to you as it is every year for me. And I hope that the words I share really resonated with you. And if there are, in fact, things that I did not mention that you needed to say or to state on today, take them into your heart, have your own moment of reflection and prayer, and share love and positivity as you celebrate Juneteenth this weekend. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful weekend and take care of yourselves. Goodbye.